Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom, and welcome to day 2 of Nazi Zombie Week. So we're going to have a look at War of the Dead today, which is a 2011 movie. And basically the premise of this one is we have a sort of coalition between American and Finnish soldiers, which are basically on a kind of patrol on some kind of secret mission, and they encounter a resistance from Russian soldiers. And it turns out basically that the Nazis before them have been having some kind of plot to experiment with the occult and such, as we've kind of seen on some of these films before, to try and create some kind of super soldier, and in doing so they've created zombie-like creatures. Now, to be fair with this film, it's a little bit of a cheat, because the majority of actual zombies you'll see are not all Nazis. In fact, they're probably mostly Russian zombies that you'll sort of see. But you do see a few zombie Nazis when you get into this kind of like bunker, which is kind of the hub of these kind of experiments. But for the most part, before we get that, you'll see mainly kind of Finnish and Russian zombies. But they are there, and it is a Nazi plot, so I'm counting it, god damn it. Anyway, so this has kind of been described by some, apparently, as a cross between Day of the Dead and Band of Brothers. And I can kind of see why they would say that, because it does have a quite a bombastic feel to it. But it's kind of a cheesy film. But let's talk about some of the kind of the positives and stuff here. So first of all, so the production design of this film, I think, is very good. It kind of there's quite a lot of battles and explosions and stuff like this. And it's a very kind of fast-paced film with a lot of action in it. Now, the key word here is action, because this doesn't play like a horror film. It plays like an action film. If I had to say, describe it to a horror film comparison, I would say it plays more along the lines of the kind of the Underworld series rather than any type of traditional zombie films there. The zombies themselves are the most agile zombies you'll ever see here. And then they're literally jumping like meters and stuff in the air, and kind of can fist fight and almost kung fu fight with the best of them. So very different styles of zombies that you've probably seen before. So this is what I mean. The aesthetic here is more along the lines of a kind of I guess an action horror rather than a kind of your straight sort of zombie horror here. And there's lots of kind of stunts and stuff, and like I said, it's fast paced. The cows are great. Obviously, the costumes are good. There's a good display of of hardware. The effects sometimes are a little bit on the kind of the cheaper side. Apparently, this could have run out of money during production, and was only sort of finished a couple of years later. And I think you can probably tell which scenes have been added, because there's a couple of very obvious sort of CGI moments, particularly towards the end, and you'll see kind of spurts of CGI blood. And I get the impression that it got kind of so far, then was basically put into post-production later, and a few little bits added, but they kind of look on the cheaper side, and you can kind of tell. But the practical stuff, although it's a little bit over the top for some people, if you're a traditional zombie fan, you're not going to like these kind of aerobic zombies, I'm afraid. But for an action piece, it's probably fairly good. Interesting characters here. Really focuses on three main soldiers: an American guy, a kind of a Finnish lieutenant, and a Russian grunt, basically, who kind of team up to try and kind of defeat these and kind of really put an end to this sort of Nazi zombie menace. So the negatives here, it's a very cheesy film, despite the fact that I think it looks aesthetically quite good. It kind of is a little bit cheesy, and like I said, the fight scenes and stuff go a bit too far, a little bit sort of over choreographed, and there's a lot of things like slow-mo. So the kind of the style of the action doesn't suit the subject matter, in my opinion, because it plays very much like a kind of, like I said, a kind of Underworld, Matrix sort of style action film in a kind of World War II zombie film. It's kind of a weird mix. I mean, it might work with some people, but I personally didn't think it meshed that well. And some of the kind of the dialogue here is really cheesy. I mean, it's just very, very kind of like, ooh, that really is cheesy. And kind of one of the characters, the American guy, has this face off of this kind of former ally, this kind of Finnish commander guy, and it's the fight scene is just ridiculously cheesy, and kind of the posturing and stuff like that. But it's quite fun, I would say. The design here is quite good. You know, it's not going to be for your, what I would consider your, if you like things like Outpost, which definitely had a kind of a, you know, a menacing feel to it. It doesn't have that. There's no kind of menacing feel here. There's no kind of feel of dread, of fear. There's very little gore here. But if you like a kind of more reaction side of things, this may be one to go for. I don't think it's as good as Outpost, despite I think it does have some strong points, and it is well made. It is a well made film. I just don't think the subject matter quite fits the way they've kind of done it here. But I think some people will definitely like this film. I'm going to give this movie a 5 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.